Hey folks, Phil the Bee Man here. We are doing a interesting project today. We are retiring my two-sided nukes. These are hives that I've been using for pretty much all my adult life. As in one hive body, I've got a divider so that there's two nukes, at least in theory. And the queen excluder keeps the queens from interfering with each other. And honestly, we're kind of done with these. Partly the pallets they're on, these were originally, long before I had forklifts, I had like little just, single hive pallets. And then they've been screwed to commercial pallets, and those are getting rotten. And so we either have to fix these or we have to retire them, and we've opted to phase them out. It's non-standard equipment. We're changing over to, just point the camera over there, to the standard clip pallet. And we are, so if there's two nukes alive, one's being transferred into a box to go back in the same hive position, and the second one will become a nuke that'll be a replacement for another hive. So we'll go through that, and this will be a chance to spot some queens and learn a few things as we go here. So because of that divider, these 10 frames are really it takes a little bit of space, just enough that you want a pretty hot day to be able to work these, and that's kind of what we got. We went from, I think Thursday had 5 degrees of frost, and it's over 30 Celsius today. So over the weekend we went from what some folks call a winter to what we call a summer. And so the bees are really buzzing, they're pretty happy. So am I guess. Would have been nice to have maybe 2 days of transition. Oh, there's our queen right there. So she's one of my queens raised from grafting last spring, and she's been in this 5-frame nuke all last summer. So she'll be raring to go to head up this hive all summer long. When it's really bright sunshine, you don't ever want to leave brood exposed to direct sunlight. So I'm always careful to put a blank frame on the outside. Now that can sit there. If we wanted to, we could put a blanket over top of it just to keep them all happy. Sari, can you toss me a nuke box? So the shared heat from these two units being in the same place, in theory, meant that we could have a smaller hive. So these were started basically with 1 frame of brood and a queen cell probably about the end of May of last year. 1 frame of brood wouldn't be viable on its own, but 2 of them squeezed into one of these boxes makes a marginally viable hive. Some of these the best ones make a little bit of honey. And I have mixed feelings about moving away from these, because these nukes have been a big part of my growth over the years. To have those extra queens in the spring was a real gift some years. Didn't spot the queen, so I'm just checking to make sure she's not on the wall. Looks like we're clear. So, you know, and nukes are a part of a growth strategy for a lot of beekeepers. But I'm finding it harder and harder to keep them happy. And I'm not sure if it's me or the nukes. Part of my theory is that it's getting harder to get the right dosage of the treatments. Ooh, this one doesn't look too good. Pretty small, but we'll see. I think it's harder now that we're using more, you know, whether it's oxalic or formic, getting the right dosage for a smaller cluster without nuking it is getting harder and harder. So I think that's part of the challenge with these. And I've heard from lots of beekeepers that their nukes are viable this spring. They often had, some people had pretty good results overall, had disasters on their nukes. There's our queen. And this is pretty, this is way below marginal, this particular unit here. That's basically all the brood it's got. So we're gonna have to pump that up a little bit. There's nothing on this side. So anyway, it's harder to get good results out of nukes, so I'm giving up. I'm doubling down on my summer strategy of taking splits after my honey flow. Notice the advantage of that is I'm not taking bees away from my production hives during the spring buildup. I'm going to wait to take bees after they've already made me a crop. I think it's more economically viable. It's way less work. So that's the horse I'm gonna back going forward. Now, will it be the right decision? I don't know. I will have to, as I increase my summer splits, I'll need to focus more on queen production in the time leading up to that. And I'm going to go back to, I have some little mini mating boxes, and we're going to have to fire those back up to have my self-sufficiency of queens will need to be focused on more. Now, some of you are probably wondering what's with the plastic bags. This is basically just a little greenhouse to help keep that hive warm. It didn't have a very good lid, so that wind was blowing through here. So some of these early in the spring, I put that plastic on to see if it could help them build up a little bit. Doesn't look like it hurt them. It would roast them if you left them on too long. I suspect you'd probably roast the hive. Let's come around and have a look. Now, there's no brood here, so this is only got bees on one side. I like the looks of that. This shows pretty good example of how the brood cycles. So this sheet the queen was laying in circles. So the oldest brood is here hatching out, and then she started again at the beginning. So this is capped over, and this is sort of the the medium age. And so some people get excited about a queen's brood pattern. I like a queen to fill every cell in the frame, and the order in which she does it is kind of her business as far as I'm concerned. This queen isn't leaving much undone. It probably doesn't show up on the camera, but this is all eggs in here. Can you show the white at the bottom of the cells there? See that? I can't tell if you're getting it or not. We'll edit that out if it's not there. Okay, and I can't, trouble with making videos for real is you can't leave stuff in the sun too much when it's this hot. It'll roast it. I'd like to find the queen on this one because I'd like to donate some brood to that last one. Of course, as soon as the camera's on, they get real elusive. This is all coming back in again, Katie. We'll show the pollen here. That's all just been gathered in the last few days. The bees have had hardly any flight. So they finally got a real good pollen full. And as it's hotter, the queen is much more likely to be in a place you didn't expect. So before I go through those again, I look on the wall. Okay, second round. Oh, there she is. Right there. Even after all these years, I still get a thrill whenever I see her. Okay, so this is a nice frame of brood. It's not wall to wall, but it'll put it in the middle here. And then some of the bees on that will fly back. So we kind of gotta overdo it a little bit. I figure 3/4 of the bees that I shook in there will fly back. So if you want one shake of bees, you kind of gotta add 4, and it'll work out. All right, close this up. Next one. I think, well, I didn't check how strong these colonies were when I added those hoods. It sure doesn't seem like it cost us anything. It's kind of a moot point because I'll never use them again because they won't work. They only work on hives if there's a space between. So I won't have that. This one, only viable on one side. So nothing exciting about that. So anyway, we're done with two-sided hives. I have mixed feelings about that because it's kind of, you know, highly technical beekeeping. That's always the funnest, but it's a real labor suck. Yeah, if anyone's interested in these and lives close by, we can call me, give me a call, we can work out a deal. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great day. This is what I mean by the pallet's getting pretty rotten. This one, the runner, is completely rotted away. Ooh. So we needed to do something with that. When we're making these nukes up and it's so hot, we always put them in the shade of the truck and load them right just as we're done for the day. There's a tip for you. These things cook really easy when the bees are contained.